everybody. Ever wonder what it's like to visit Stonehenge? Let's find out in today's episode of Adventuring Spiders. Just walked off the bus. First view of Stonehenge. And we are one of your first people up today, first bus. So we will get a very, very good view without too many people being here, which is very cool. Countryside around here is also quite gorgeous. It is actually quite an amazing complex. You can walk back to the visitor center from here. There's a free shuttle, but if you walk back you can walk through these fields, and it's about a 40-minute walk back to the visitor center. This marker stone is just on the outside, and you can see it sits in front of Stonehenge here, and they've got a marker on the ground that marks the presence of both the mid-summer sunrise and the midwinter sunset, and they point in exactly the direction of this stone towards Stonehenge. So right in front of me here is an example of one of the barrows, right next to the highway. It's the little mound, and that's a burial mound. It's a windy day here at Stonehenge. To be honest, it always seems to be windy here in England, but we're finally close enough, or at least as close as we're going to get. You can get a private tour of the inner circle at Stonehenge, but it costs a lot more. So this is as close as you can get. You can see how a number of the stones have fallen, and the placard does say that some of them have been removed, and so it would have been a much more completed circle at one point. It's still impressive nonetheless. Alright, here's a shot of the original henge, or the original circle that was dug first. It's filled in quite a bit and overgrown. The estimate is that the outer lower henge here was about 3 meters deep, and then the inner ring where they piled the dirt 3 meters high, and I can show you that. Here's the henge, and here's the other side of it on the other side of the path, and you can see the embankment and then the lower henge. So this came before any of the stones were placed. This is quite interesting. There's a number of vehicles parked along the road here on both sides, and we were told by somebody, one of the guides, that these are locals who park along the road. Now, what they do during the day, I'm not sure. If they're just coming to and from to look at the site or not, I don't know, but this road that runs along here, people park along it and camp, and they're allowed 72 hours max. They're trying to get this road closed because apparently they're a bit of a distraction. Alright, so I'm currently walking in one of the pastures, and maybe you can see Stonehenge in the distance behind me there. What I wanted to do now was walk over to a couple of the barrow mounds, just to give you an idea of the size and how many of them there are. Like I said before, there are these mounds everywhere around here, and it doesn't matter which direction you look, you can see them. I can see 4 or 5 off to the distance to my right. There's another 10 or so behind me, and just in front of me here there's another 5 or 6, so I'll show you those in a minute. But this is part of the walking path that you can do if you decide to walk back down to the Discovery Centre from Stonehenge. It's about a 40-minute walk. I'm not doing that. I'm only going to the barrows, then I'm going back up to the buses to go down to the museum. All right, so I'm just arriving at the top here, and you can see just in front of me there's a barrow mound here, 2 more in the distance, and if I pan over here, another 2, which is pretty cool. And a reminder that these are our burials, and some of them have been excavated and burials have been recovered. Now, when you're walking up to all these, you see these gates. That's because these are all active sheep fields, and so you gotta close the gates behind you. There we go. All right, so here's one of our first barrow mounds, and you're of course not allowed to walk on them because they are protected archaeological sites, but you can get pretty close. And keep in mind, these barrow mounds are 6,000 years old and contain the remains of someone. You can see the ditch that they needed to do to create the mound in the middle, which is very similar to the ditch that's around Stonehenge. All right, everybody, I just walked up to another one here. This one even much closer, and you can see that I'm basically standing at the top of the ditch. All right, this is my last stop here. Again, you can see all the vehicles lined up on the road, but this is the last of the barrows I'm going to look at. A relatively big one here, a couple side by side, and this one's probably the highest one that I've seen right in front of me. That's a good 3, 4, maybe even 5 meters high. And then they've got a nice sign here explaining it, and you can see these yellow circles that are on the sign outlining where all the barrows are in a line compared to where I am right now. So there's quite a few just in this general area. All right, with that, I'm gonna leave the barrows and head back towards the museum. All right, we're now gonna enter the gallery here where they have a museum where you can learn a lot more about Stonehenge. Very neat 360 camera. Puts you in the middle of the henge when it was reconstructed. Some interesting models here of how Stonehenge was built in stages, and the outer henge being first. Very, very cool little dioramas here. There's a lot of displays here of various artifacts that have been recovered from Stonehenge during excavation, along with a lot of the history of the Stone Age prior to development, and then later during the development of Stonehenge. One of the other things in the museum here is an absolutely fantastic interactive display showing the entire area around Stonehenge and all of the various landmarks that you can see with an aerial view. Display outside here in the museum of the size of one of the rocks at Stonehenge. Really impressive when you're actually standing beside one. And of course this display is not here to show how they think these things were moved. Also got a little reconstruction here of some of the houses, wattle and daub, thatched roofs. Looks like they're rethatching this roof right here. Very basic wattle and daub building. Alright everybody, that's going to do it from here at Stonehenge. Yeah, it's a very nice quick stop. I don't think you can spend a whole lot of time here. About an hour and a half to 2 hours. By the time you walk up to the site, walk around it, take a good look, and then go into the museum, unless you want to walk back from Stonehenge to the museum, and then that's going to take you an additional 40 minutes. So there you go. That's what you can expect if you ever come to Stonehenge. With that, if you liked the video, smash that like button, hit subscribe. Until next time, good adventuring.